Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm David. Just want to start by wishing you all a very happy new year and saying that I hope you had a lovely Christmas spent with family and doing whatever you got up to. And I hope you got some railway projects done, got some good gifts, bought some purchases for your railways, etc, etc. This video was meant to be uploaded a week ago, but I didn't actually get around to editing it. I filmed it all whilst I was visiting my parents down in sunny Suffolk. For those of you who don't know, I actually don't live with my parents anymore. I've moved out, I've got a job, I'm an adult, which is scary, but it does mean that I can't actually work on larger railway projects unless I visit them, and I can only do that in my holiday periods. So yeah, I did get some work done over Christmas. I got a lot of scenery done on the viaduct board, including pouring resin for the river, and you've seen some teasers of that already, and there'll be some more teasers throughout this video. The other project I did was I built the baseboard, did all the wiring, and installed that diorama that I made a few weeks ago. So that's for the next module of the main layout. For this year, I'm hoping, win whatever leave I get, I'm hoping to be able to start building Cherrybrook, which is going to be the branch line terminus station. This will also operate as a standalone layout with some sort of fiddle yard. I'm thinking of using a cassette-based system, and I'm hoping whenever I get my first house, my next house with my girlfriend, we've actually already had a flat together, as you've seen before, but when we get a house again, I'm hoping to be able to set that up there and work on it like a proper layout, instead of using one module at a time at my parents' house. Anyway, I digress. So I've got some work done. This video is going to show you some teasers. And then in the future, I'm going to upload a video on the viaduct, a video on the next module. Then there might be a gap because I've got a really, really busy work year, so I'm not sure what I'm going to be able to film or edit or anything like that. So yeah, this video is going to be a fleet review. It's my New Year video, my New Year special, and I thought I'd show you all of my purchases over the last however many years. I've started documenting my railway, but I've now got a database with all my locos in and all my rolling stock, where I bought them, how much they cost, that sort of thing. And I thought it might make a relatively interesting video to do a fleet review. I'm going to start right back from my earliest purchase, loco-wise, and work all the way to the Class 47 that I bought myself for Christmas. So yeah, hope you enjoy. Okay, so this first loco is a 61XX. It's a steam loco tank engine, 6167 in BR green. It's a Hornby model, catalogue year 2006, and it's R2357. I bought it second-hand from Hatton's in 2020, January 2020, and it's been self-weathered by me with a lens 8-pin decoder fitted. At the moment it's not DCC sound. I might well fit it in the future, and it's also only an early version of my weathering, so it's not quite representative of the late 60s, where steam locos were really, really run down, getting towards the end of their life. Also, it needs work on the couplings, and it doesn't run very well. You can probably notice in the video footage, it's really not a great runner, so I do need to work on it. I think I'll either keep this and just store it and maybe put it on a display shelf, or just run it very rarely in the future, or I might end up just replacing it outright with a Dapol large prairie, probably. Okay, so this next model is my oldest diesel loco. It's a Class 04 Shunter, D2280 in BR green. It's a Bachmann model, but it's a much older one, so it's a split chassis model from 1999. I bought it on eBay in 2020 for a pretty good price, as it was second-hand and a wobbly rudder. I've DCC fitted it with a small Lyres DCC decoder, which is hardwired in, and it has a stay alive and cab lights fitted as well. It's weathered by myself. It's quite a heavy weathering job, and I do actually need to come back and add some decals back on, that being a cab number and some BR emblems, because I did manage to wipe those off. For now it doesn't run very well, but it just needs a clean up really. I did get it running very, very well when I first had it. Okay, so this is my favourite Steam Loco at the moment. It's my Hornby 4MT Tender, Standard Class 4 75062 in BR Black with late crest. As I said, it's a Hornby model. I think it's from the sort of early 2000s, and I bought this in December 2020 from Hatton's, second hand, and used. Currently fitted with the standard Hornby decoder that it came with, but I do want to get this sound fitted probably by the end of this year with a ESU lock sound chip. Self-weathered by me, and there is a short clip on the channel showing the before and after of the weathering process. I'll be sure to do a guide in the future on how I achieved this look, but I'm really happy with it and how run down it is. Another one of my favourites is my 57XX Pannier 7714 in BR Black. It's a Bachmann model, not the latest Pannier. I think it's probably again sort of the mid 2000s. Purchased in 2020 on eBay for a relatively good price. Currently fitted with a Lyre's DCC decoder, which is hardwired in with a Stay Alive. But again, I would like to swap this probably for an ESU Lock Pilot. Just to bring it up to the standard of my other Locos. It was weathered like this when I bought it on eBay. I'm not entirely happy with it, so I probably will be re-weathering this in the future, and I'll take that decal off and swap it for a BR Late Crest decal. To go alongside this Pannier, I have got a Scale Pannier on order DCC sound, so whenever that comes, my plan is to join them together in a pair and run them around the layout together. Okay, the infamous Dapple 121 Bubblecar. This caused me some trouble when I got it, and there were some videos out on that. I did get a replacement from Rails at Sheffield, and it works perfectly fine. This was the first model that I'd actually purchased new, direct from Rails at Sheffield, not second-hand, and it's one of the only new models in my collection. I bought it from Rails at Sheffield in 2021, and you can see the new price there. Currently fitted with a Lyre's DCC 21-pin decoder with Stay Alive. It's got lighting everywhere. I've fitted figures. I did have a video on the weathering, but I just never got around to editing it, and the footage was taking up space on my computer, so that's gone now. But I probably have some photos I could upload at some point. I do want to get this DCC sound fitted, and I need to add some drivers at the front and back, but other than that, it's a pretty complete model, and I'm really happy with the way it runs now. We move on to my one and only industrial loco. This is a Hornby Peckett in green, Forest number 1. So I bought this in June 2021 from Antics in Plymouth. I bought it new. So again, the 122 was my first new loco, and this is my second. And they might be my only at the moment new locos. Bought it for a good price though in Plymouth. It's got a Hornby 6-pin decoder in because that's the only one that will fit. I would quite like to add some sort of Stay Alive, maybe even sound, I'm not sure. I don't know if that's even possible. And I'm hoping this will be an industrial shunter in Colestell Works whenever I build that. That's going to be years away, but I just liked having it in my collection. And it's got a weathering job from myself, and there's a video on it on my channel. we come to what is probably my favourite locomotive at the moment, 33025, named after HMS Sultan. So this is a Helgen model that I bought from the Weathering Works on eBay in January 2023. This is the first loco I bought from the Weathering Works, and I was really impressed with the paint job on it. He does a really good job weathering over there, and I buy a load of stuff from him. It's fitted with a Locksound V5. I think there's some clips of that in one of my videos. And I really like this loco. The sound's good, the speak is good. The weathering job I got from the Weathering Works is really good. I fitted figures and cab lights, and yeah, no complaints really. It runs really well. Here we have my Hornby 08 Shunter. If you want to see some photos of the weathering on this, it's in a really short video somewhere on my wall on YouTube. It's 3256 in BR green, and it's a Hornby model, purchased by myself in January 2023 from eBay for a really good second-hand price. Fitted with a Locksound V5 Micro, which I hardwired in myself, and again I weathered it up myself. Quite happy with this. Probably needs the wheels cleaning. It's not running great at the moment, but it does have a stay alive, and when it's running at its best, I really do like it for shunting. Okay, so this next loco is another 2023 purchase. It's a Bachmann Class 20 8164 in BR green. Again, it's a slightly older model. It's not the most up-to-date one. It doesn't have as good a lights as it could have, but I think it's pretty good. Bought it in 2023, as I said, on eBay. Already sound fitted with the standard Bachmann sound 21-pin decoder, which I think is a Zimmo decoder. I might well swap this in the future to an ESU decoder, because I now have an ESU lock programmer and can add the uncouple shuffle and things like that. I weathered it up myself using photos of a real Class 20 I found online, so in fact that single blue door there is realistic. It must have been a spare part that they couldn't get in green anymore. My plan is to pair it with another Class 20 in BR blue, probably one of the newer Bachmann ones that has all of the working headlights. So between them I'll have working headlights and working tail lights. Okay, so this is my next purchase of 2023. It's a Helgen Hymek, bought directly from the Weathering Works. So this was new, but pre-weathered from the Weathering Works on eBay, bought in 2023. It's in BR green and it's 7050. It's actually the slightly newer Helgen version that has LEDs instead of bulbs, but other than that, it is a stock Helgen model with the sort of same motor that you can always expect. It runs pretty well from all my testing, and yeah, I do quite like it. I fitted a Locksound V5 myself, and I've also added some drivers in each cab. Okay, so we move on to my very final purchase of 2023. This was bought specifically for myself for Christmas, along with a rake of 15 HAA wagons. I bought myself this older Bachmann Class 47. It's D1764 in BR two-tone green with full yellow ends. I bought it on eBay second hand for a pretty good price. for just the stock model. It is an older model in the older Bachmann box before they brought out their new branding. But if you open it up, it is relatively modern inside, with a decoder socket built into the circuit board. I will be DCC sound fitting this in the future, but for now it's just got a Bachmann 21-pin decoder in there that came stock from the factory. It really needs weathering, so I'll probably do a video on that in the future. I didn't get round to doing it at Christmas, and this is specifically to haul my HAA train. Okay, so I thought I'd round out this New Year fleet review by talking to you about some rolling stock and some formations that I've made up and some I plan to get in the future. So my ethos here is to collect a load of realistic formations over the next couple of years. So by the time I've got a big sort of roundy layout in probably 4 or 5 years' time, I'll have plenty of realistic trains that can run around in circles looking good. So to do that, I've looked in magazines, I've read books, I've watched videos on YouTube of archive footage from the 60s and 70s, and I've come up with a few choice rakes that I've started to collect. My collection method has been the same with my locos really, so mainly going second-hand on eBay, older Bachmann models, some newer Hornby models, and things like that. To store them all, I've been using the Worley stock boxes, but broken down to just their storage trays and put into large black storage containers. And I found this has worked really quite well. So starting off by looking at some of the formations I've completed this year. The first one being my HAA train. This is made up of 15 Hornby HAA wagons, the slightly newer version with sprung buffers, etc. These need a lot of work doing. I'm going to repaint all of the underframes, I'm going to heavily weather them, change the couplings and add real coal loads. I think it's going to stay at 15 wagons long. The other formation that I finished this year on the good side is a mixed goods rake that I saw, I think it was in a Hornby magazine article. This has got a whole mix of vent vans and various mineral wagons at the front, followed by 8 coal wagons. The vent wagons and mineral wagons and the brake vans have all come from the Weathering Works on eBay. A slightly more expensive way to buy what are essentially older Bachmann models, but they're really nicely hand painted by the Weathering Works, and I think they look really good. The 8 coal wagons at the rear are some older Bachmann models that I've had in my collection for a while with real coal loads. The only passenger formation that I've completed this year is my chocolate and cream formation. This is 8 coaches, 6 of which are chocolate and cream, and the final 2 are in maroon. This is based on a formation out of Kingswear to Paddington, I believe, actually in the late 50s, but if I heavily weather it, it'll probably look a bit better for the 60s. I've replaced 2 of the coaches with maroon coaches, just to reflect the era a little bit better. These are all older Bachmann models, but really good detail, and I've replaced all the couplings with hunk couplings. I need to come back and add figures and lighting to these coaches, as I will be doing to all of the coaches in my future collection. If we look at some of the formations that I haven't completed then this year, I've started collecting some blue-grey coaches for a maroon and blue-grey service from Oxford Canal in the 60s, which I saw on YouTube. I'm going to slowly collect this probably over the next year or the next couple of years, and again at the moment this is a mix of Hornby and Bachmann Mark 1s. I've also decided to make a smaller parcels formation. This will run into my branch line station, mainly so I can use an Acura scale siphon. Then it's got a GUV, BSK, PMV and Maunsell. This isn't based off anything in particular, I don't think, just sort of generic research of what would form up a parcels train. Moving on to goods then, I've got a couple of wagons for an engineer's train, but I'm not really sure on a formation that's realistic. I'm thinking of doing probably a maintenance train for points, because this allows me to have various different wagons carrying ballast, spoil, bits of rail, new sleepers, and maybe even a couple of cranes, so that should make quite an interesting engineer's rake. I also want to add a fuel train. This will run into my TMD, and this will just be 12 Class B tank wagons with a brake van. Another train I'm looking to get is a car carrier train, probably from the late 60s, and I'm thinking possibly a Ford train, as I've seen a few good photos where it's all different types of Ford cars and vans going from the various works to spread around the country. This is probably going to be made of 8 car flat wagons, Mark 1s, and I don't know if I'm going to go for the Oxford Rail, the Bachmann. I think there might even be a Hornby version. I also want to collect a couple of DMUs, probably some 3-car Class 117s, and maybe a Derby Lightweight or something. and this will be over the next couple of years to run on the branch line. Finally then, for the rest of my goods, it's going to be a mix of triplets, as seen on McKinley or Chadwick. So I'm just going to buy lots of wagons in groups of 3, and this will form various rakes that I can shunt and swap around for the branch line layout. Moving forward to look at some locos that I want to buy, probably not over the next year, but whenever I've got some cash to get some locos. I've already got a class 50 on order from a Curascale, a class 37 on order as well. I think the 37 should come out before the 50 because the 50 has just been delayed. As I said earlier, I've also got a Pannier on order from a Curascale as well. As for other locos I'm interested in buying at the moment, probably want to get myself a few steam locos, a large one like a Britannia, perhaps a 9F or an 8F, a 5MT, and I think that's it for steam locos on my current wish list. As for diesels, probably want a Western, a Dapple Western, to pull my chocolate cream passenger rake. I'm thinking of getting a second class 20 to go along with my current one and haul my longer goods train. Also looking at a class 14 to haul my engineers train, and then maybe a Peak or something to swap around on that long car train. So all of this is just rough planning of what I could buy. No clue really what I am going to buy over this next year. As I said earlier, the next couple of videos to come out might be delayed because I do have a really busy work year, but as and when they do come out, it will be a video on adding extra scenery and resin to the viaduct scene, building the next baseboard and getting a load of wiring done for the next module. And then towards the end of the year, as I get some free time in the summer, I'm thinking of building Chobrook Station. So I'll see you then. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you next time.